were getting themselves like on the border of existence. The border of all creation. She was fighting something there. But it wasn't a person. It was more like just an energy.
Did it have a consciousness?
No. It was like she was holding it back. It's like this cloudiness was trying to rumble in on creation, and she just sort of was like, no, I was pushing it back.
Can anyone else assist her?
Those other balancers.
Oh, the other balancers. How are they doing?
They're busy.
Are they busy dealing with this?
Yes.
Is God assisting and helping them?
Yes. But this happens every so often. It's like a tide. And sometimes some of the levees weaken. So they sort of have to hold it back while the levees be rebuilt. But she was holding it back. And that rippled down into her physical. Not entirely accurate, but it's the best way we explain it.
It makes sense. I can understand. There's been a tremendous amount of clearing out anything negative.
It's not negative.
It's just, it's like a tide. A tide.
Think of creation as like a floating island. I mean, it's all a floating island, and there are these boiling clouds, like stuff of just pure energy. But it's sort of dark. Just the color. That's basically where all the building blocks for creation come from.
And it has no consciousness, no anything to it. And it's like, there is a floaty swirliness to it.
Yes.
A churning to it.
That's why old cultures saw creation on the back of a turtle. Because they would see it in their minds, and large turtles would be the closest representation of what it would look like. Because they had that sort of pattern on their shell.
So this was just a natural, normal occurrence.
Yeah, and a couple of the levees sort of cracked a little bit, so she had to sort of hold it back. She had to hold it back while some others, who's their job, rebuilt it. Rebuilt basically the levees.
And there was a lot of pressure in the
Yes.
yeah.
And sometimes there are like big storms come up in the churning energy. Because it has a current. Well, not like a storm, but more activity.
It's not always stagnant the same.
Yeah. And the Anunnaki were like sharks in the sea. Because that's where they were hiding. And they were using that to try to rebuild stuff. Because that's just basically the basic building block. Think of it as like a big tub of Lego. You can make pretty much anything out of it. But it's just the building blocks. That's another illustration.
Another illustration, yes.
And the reason why some can go into that is because those are the ones who would be like the divers. The deep sea divers. Who have had the experience of the training to know how to handle it and not get the bends. Not just anyone can jump in and swim in that. Because some of them will just sink. Or pop.
They were not designed to be in that atmosphere.
Exactly.
If you want to call it like that.
Yeah.
But those of the divine realm.
Some of them. Not even all of the divine realm can go into that.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Those are the earliest created of the divine realm.
Yes.
Because the earliest ones, that's where they had
to exist.
That's where they existed at. So they can, because this is where they were. This is where they're from, more or less.
Yeah.
And creation.
That was their temporary living for quite a while.
That's where they lived originally, and then they created
that was their starter home.
Yes, that was their starter home, and creation is the new build.
Yes.
So those who existed there at that time can
go back. back.
They can go back.
If they need to.
So there was this other, I'm just going to use the word space, the primordial space.
Yes.
That those who are the earliest creation are from and have experienced and are part of and can move through. And then the divine realm was created, and within the divine realm there are those of the divine realm that don't go into the primordial space. They were not created, did not exist in the primordial space.
Yeah.
And then so forth and so forth.
Like Penelope.
Yeah.
Penelope cannot go into the primordial.
Oh, okay.
She was created after the divine realm was. When there was a need for healing. Because building and healing go together.
But can go into that realm.
Yes, because she's a balancer. She's on the edge.
That's where she exists. And so,
standing at the edges of the mandala, making sure it all just the pattern balances out.
yes.
As the weavers are weaving.
The weavers, the balancers, the great father, the great mother, light.
That one that looks in the infinity point.
In the infinity point. Those earliest.
Yes.
But the Anunnaki found a way to. They
You
were
like a submersible.
I was gonna say. I just got something a little bit. When I go into that space, I don't have to do something to go into the space. I just go into the space.
Yes.
The Anunnaki had to create things that allowed them to move through that space. But
like a deep sea submersible.
Yes, but they truly were not living in that space. It was like
yes.
It was like a.
You know the deep sea submersibles have like those little claws.
Yes, so they could do it that way. But an Anunnaki being could not be by themselves in that space and be fine.
Exactly.
It could not happen.
They would implode.
Yes. They had to create artificial things that allow be there.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me know that. Because when I have experienced when I that am here at the extension, see and experience that I see and experience it, not in everything, but I experience it. I have noticed that it's just that, okay, I'm going to go there, and then I just go there. I'm just there. It's very quiet to me.
It's a great meditative place. But yet the early civilizations that were more connected could see that. But they only had their knowledge to try to explain it. Like you do. So they would see the mandala, like you said, as the turtle.
It's a sort of, I want to say the word, I was going to say the word funny, but you would probably take it literally as funny. But it's this interesting thing that which this culture that we're living in here on this physical earth here, this point in time, the things that they consider ignorant and make fun of and dismiss are actually
the most accurate,
the most true, the best path.
Yes.
It's a very, I know it's not by accident. It's a very funny thing.
Ironic.